Hey everybody, it's Russ coming at you one more time right here from MCKAMEY Manor. Thanks for stopping in. I do, as always, really appreciate your support. Alright, today we have a very interesting interview that was held at the ScareLA show in August, in fact August 6th, 2016, and it was handled by a young lady, a really good journalist named Beth. And if she looks familiar, it's because she has actually gone through the haunt before a few years ago. Now, yeah, we gave her the easy tour, and I broke my rule about not letting journalists come back here, but she followed the directions. I actually filmed her with her own equipment, so it was fun, and we gave her a little bit of a show. And ever since then, she's been a friend and fan. I think she may not be a fan, but she's been a friend of MCKAMEY Manor, and she's actually shot us several times. In fact, the last time she filmed us, we were pulled over by the police, but she wasn't able to show that footage, but it's pretty good stuff. I wish you could have saw it. It was pretty entertaining. So she's been around quite a few times, covering the manor and all the different ups and downs, and she asked if I would do an interview at ScareLA, and of course, anything for Beth. She's an awesome gal, and I really appreciate the support, Miss Beth. So here you go from August 6, 2016 at Scare Los Angeles.
Welcome back to another edition of the KPBS Cinema Junkie podcast. I'm Beth Accomando. As I speak, it's less than 3 months until Halloween. Spirit stores are already posting signs looking for employees, and I'm still trying to track down tentacles for my Lovecraft haunt this year. So basically, it's panic mode. Fortunately, I had the opportunity to spend this past weekend with other Halloween fans at ScareLA, where people could understand my sense of panic. The convention celebrates all things spooky and fun. It's grown so big in its 4 short years that it's had to move to the Pasadena Convention Center last year to accommodate the crowds. Today's podcast is dedicated to ScareLA. Now for my interview with perhaps the most notorious home haunter, Russ McKamey of MCKAMEY Manor. He began home haunting decades ago with what he called a boo haunt, something fun but not too scary, for his neighborhood in San Diego. And from the first scream he heard, he was addicted. Actually, as he'll reveal in my interview, the addiction came much earlier, when he was in the Navy. And having been in the military explains a little bit about the particular style of extreme haunting McKamey does. He runs a kind of horror boot camp. Imagine if R. Lee Ermey from Full Metal Jacket was in charge of a haunt and was running you through its paces. Well, that's sort of the idea. The first time I interviewed Russ, it was for an NPR radio story and a KPBS TV feature. He would only agree to do the interview if I agreed to be blindfolded and kidnapped and brought to his haunt. I have to admit, I hesitated, and I did ask my cameraman to grab a shot of the license plate of his car as he drove away. Being a journalist, Russ gave me the sissy tour, but I still had to eat disgusting food, have a tarantula walk on my face, and when it was all over on a 106-degree summer night, I was shivering from all the dousing with cold water I had gotten. It was not what I was expecting when I went to do the interview, but after it was all over, I felt pretty good that I had survived. I by no means beat the manor. Russ proudly boasts that no one has, but I did come out of it alive. Russ is someone people either love or hate. His fans adore him, and his haters want him locked up as a terrorist or sadist. But to me, he's really just a showman, the P.T. Barnum of home haunts. But that's why interviewing him is so tough. He wants to sell you on the fact that his haunt is real and that you don't want to do it because it's brutal. But then he also doesn't want to get shut down by cops if they think he's really torturing people. So when Russ answers questions, you can't be sure where the truth ends and PR begins. That's partially what gets him into trouble, because he loves to show videos of people bloodied or crying or begging to be let out of MCKAMEY Manor, and he posts tons of these videos on his YouTube channel. This prompts critics and haters to ask for him to be shut down. But what critics fail to realize is that Russ is not going to reveal what's real and what he likes to call is smoke and mirrors, because that would ruin the effect of what he's trying to do. That's because what Russ McKamey does is he puts on a show and he fools you into believing that what he presents is real. And then that runs into problems when people from the outside are looking in at what he's doing. Recently, Russ lost his job of more than a decade as a veterans advocate, and he thought he was going to be closing down his haunt and leaving San Diego. But when he picked a new location, the town booted him out when they discovered what he was going to be doing. So Russ has been contemplating a TV show, has looked into doing haunts as part of other events, and is returning to home haunting with something he calls the Chamber. He's also featured in the upcoming documentary Haunters the Movie. And while on a panel for that film at ScareLA, a fight broke out with a fellow panelist who felt that Russ gave other home haunters a bad name. But that's the kind of thing that Russ actually loves. He may love his haters as passionately as they hate him, because their hate only fuels the legend of McKamey Manor. Well, enough of me trying to explain what Russ does. I'll let the man speak for himself, and you can decide whether he's a sadist or just a guy who likes to scare people. I am here at ScareLA 2016 with Russ McKamey of MCKAMEY Manor and now McKamey Manor, the Chamber.
Yeah.
So tell me, you had a bit of an exciting panel yesterday.
I did. Well, I always encourage my so-called haters to come out and confront me, but I was kind of blindsided on this one. We had a guy on the panel. His name is, we'll call him Little Donnie. I'm not really sure what his name is. It's Donald or something. And he's from some other home haunt out of his mom's house, literally. He works the haunt out of his mom's house. I don't know even what haunt he has. They never said, but so he kind of started attacking the manor on stage a little bit and saying all the crazy accusations that you hear online about us being sued and about people dying and people are going to get killed here eventually, all the junk that we all hear. So I kind of stood up for us, obviously, and called him out a little bit, and it got kind of heated. And, just wasn't expecting it to. I thought it was going to be a professional panel. I expected it from the audience, and then we actually had a few haters in his group that were asking the same old redundant questions, same things you hear online, and so it was interesting. But there will be a complete video of the episode shortly with a nice biography on Donnie, so you guys can understand what he's all about as well.
All right, for people who may not know anything about McKamey Manor is an extreme haunt. So tell me how this got started.
Well, it got started basically kind of out of a boo haunt scenario like everybody else 16 years ago. Well, I've always been doing haunts my entire life, but at this particular location, maybe 16 years ago. And then it's just a natural progression that the haunt moved forward to more interactive stunts and, more of a live your own experience type of scenario, which is what I try to do. I try to make the haunt very cinematic and very much like you're living a movie. And it just throughout the years, a natural progression that it became more and more interactive, which means more and more extreme, and people really loved it. They loved the interactivity, the whole thing. And it's fun that way, because then you really are part of the show. You're not just a bystander, and there's consequences to decisions you make, and it makes it really fun. And so we've kind of gained a name for ourselves out of being the one that kind of pushes things to the limit, or at least that's what it appears, that we're pushing things to the limit. As always, everything is smoke and mirrors, and out of 16 years, we've never had one lawsuit, we've never had any major injuries, so I think that's a pretty good track record if you, in reality, if you look and see, compare us compared to other haunts out there who brag about all their lawsuits. I don't want lawsuits. No, not that's not a good thing for me. So, but it's a very safe way to have a very realistic survival horror experience, something that's almost like a boot camp, but horror related. So it's very unique, and it's not for everybody. You got to be 21 or above. You have to go through a long list of requirements to get in. You have to have a screening by me for an hour. You have to have a letter from your doctor and psychologist, mental and physical. You have to have a background check to get in. You got to have proof of insurance. You got to have a drug test before you actually walk through the door. So, I don't think there's any other haunt in the world that takes the precautions compared to what I do. It's pretty crazy.
You mentioned it's like a boot camp, which I went through the Sissy tour.
You did, the Sissy tour.
The Sissy tour, so I fess up to that. But boot camp, I think, is a very descriptive way for it because although I've never been in the military, it seems to be the notion of like we're going to do everything we can to break you, and then if you come out the other end, you're like part of a family.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you feel like you really accomplished something if you really can get through it, and nobody ever has. So be clear that in all the years that we've been putting this show on, not one single person has actually been able to complete the entire 8-hour tour, and only 2 people go in for 8 hours, and that means there's a lot of focus on you. You know, there's no place to hide. It's all about you. You are the star of the movie, and rest assured there will be a movie about you once you go through. But yeah, I think that's a perfect title. People get upset that we call it a haunted house, and it really is. But if you get upset over that, then call it a survival horror boot camp experience. I think that it really does explain exactly how it is, because you will get broken. I don't care who you are. You can be the toughest, roughest guy there is, and we've had them all come through, and everybody comes out crying. And just as long as you know that going in, you'll have a good time. You're not going to break us. You're not going to win. It's geared for failure. Trust me on that. But it's a lot of fun. It really is.
Well, and the notion of boot camp, you are from the military, you were in the Navy.
Yes.
So you actually started some haunting back then.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was in the military for 23 years, and directly after the military, I worked for veterans with the VA for 13 years, and we rescue dogs, and I'm a wedding DJ singer, which is really a weird thing that I'm a haunter and also this wedding silly guy, but it's all showbiz, right? But yeah, so we started the haunt way back yonder, but when I was on the ships, because I spent 17 years out to sea. I was in the Navy for 23, but 17 were, out there floating around. So to get my Halloween fix, I still would do haunts for the crew in the well deck of these big ships or in offices and what have you. So, if you're a haunter, you got to do the haunt wherever you are. And sometimes you don't have the best location, but you make the best out of it. So all you haunters out there, doesn't matter where you're at, in a single 1-bedroom apartment or a garage, it does not matter. Go haunt. It's not that, you always can find a way to do it. You really can.
Now, there's a lot of rumors and things going on the internet talking about what MCKAMEY Manor is, but one thing that goes on is, wow, he must charge a lot of money for this. He must be making a fortune. But tell people, do you charge for this? Are you a professional haunter?
It's super expensive to get in. Okay, so everybody brace themselves. So to go through an 8-hour experience for just 2 people in a $1 million haunt, I mean, we spent probably about $1 million throughout the years. I mean, it's crazy. This is all my own money, and part of the rumors is that I'm a millionaire, and there's Las Vegas involved, and I can tell you I'm not a millionaire. And so price of admission is, okay, hold your seat, sit down. It's 4 cans of dog food or a bag of dog food that we donate to Operation Greyhound, which is a rescue society for greyhound dogs, which is our passion, and we have several greyhounds ourselves that we've rescued. And so all the dog food goes to those little rascals, and they have a really rough life. And so if you guys are looking for a great dog, greyhounds are just so lovable, and they appreciate so much having a home after being locked away in a cage their entire life. And for you folks that don't know that what happens to greyhounds after they're done racing, they go to Mexico and they literally get killed. They get their heads cut off and thrown in trash bags. It's not a good scenario. So we rescue the dogs, we help support the Operation Greyhound site, and they go out and rescue the dogs from Mexico before they get killed and bring them back. So if you want a great dog, one that's going to love you for life, and the biggest couch potatoes in the world, go get a greyhound. They're awesome.
Now, the fact that you don't charge for it, some might say that may make you seem more the sadist because, why else are you doing it? So do you consider yourself a bit sadistic in what you do or not?
Not at all. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all showbiz. I just consider myself an entertainer, whether I'm singing at a wedding or in a band, playing guitar and singing, or doing a stage play, or I've been in a lot of movies throughout my life. I was a theater arts major in college. I'm just an entertainer, and I love showbiz, and I love putting on the big show. And the haunt enables me to have control of everything, of sets, props, designing themes, all these special traps that we do, because ours is very trap driven and very much like it's hard to explain, almost like a Saw movie, but just it's different. It's bigger even in some ways. And I like it just because it's so much fun to be able to put on this massive show to entertain the folks. And then what I really enjoy is making my little movies. So in a way, I'm a little filmmaker as well, and I really enjoy putting on these films for the rest of the world to see. And there's a big following. I mean, if you go to my YouTube channel, we have over 34 million views. That's a lot of views for this little mom and pop scenario, and that's because of these films I make. So I really enjoy making the movies and letting people experience the manor to some degree without actually going in, because again, it's not for everybody. So I am the opposite of what people think. They probably think that someone that does what I do, it must be really crazy or enjoy seeing people suffer, and it's not at all. I enjoy getting those magic moments. I enjoy, as a filmmaker, when I put somebody through the haunt, I'm directing it in my mind. They are my star. They are my actress that day. So I'm thinking about the edit, the shot, the angle. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for those magic moments when I go, yeah, that's it. That's the shot I need for this particular moment. So I think in a very cinematic mode as they go through the haunt. So that's where my brain is at. But it's an awful lot of fun. I mean, just think about all of you folks out there who have scared somebody, walked up behind them and went boo, and what enjoyment you get. You giggle about it. It's fun. Well, imagine that on a level of about 10,000 degrees more. And that's how much fun we're having. We're smiling inside when this is all going on. And the audience loves it too, after they're out.
So would you say, if you're not a sadist, would you say you're at least addicted to scaring people?
I'm addicted to putting on a show. I mean, I really do like to make people, feel things, whether it be, fright or laughter or whatever. It's really fun to do something that people respond to one way or another. Either they hate it, they love it, and that's what's kind of addicting, is finding out what people think about your work. And I'm lucky enough that people can give me that feedback based upon the actual show, and they can give me that feedback based upon my movies. And I really like that. I like the fact of knowing that when I'm dead and gone, the MCKAMEY Manor legend will still be probably out there because of my movies, and will be that haunt that people still talk about, because it's almost like an urban legend. People don't believe that it really happens, but trust me, it does really happen, and that's the fascinating thing about it. But it happens in a very safe, loving environment. It really is a loving scenario. All of our actors, we do it for the right reasons. We're not there to hurt anybody. We're not there to cause people torment. That's why I'm so particular on who goes in. We don't want to mess anybody up psychologically after they're done. We don't want to mess anybody up physically. So that's why I'm so particular on who actually goes. It really is a love fest. It's a good thing.
Do you see how Carol is reacting back there? She's I don't know if all the laughter from your partner back there reflects that you're telling the truth, or that she gets the similar enjoyment out of it.
She does. She enjoys it as well. But she's the safety net. She's the one, she's the little angel out there. So when someone's having a rough time, she'll be out there and, oh, you can hold my hand. And they're like, yes, ma'am. You don't have to call me ma'am. It's just Carol right here. So Carol's the one that will bring them down back to life again, and kind of have them decompress, because it is really strenuous. I mean, it takes a lot to go through it, and you have to really shake the hand of the folks that actually take the tour, because most people are afraid of it, because now people actually know of it. It's not this hidden thing, and so if you're smart, you're going to go, I'm not going to do that. That's crazy. So most people will not even attempt it. So the ones that actually do, those guys are some and gals, and the girls for sure are much stronger than the guys. The girls for sure man up to take the tour and last longer than the guys by far. It's not even close. And that's really fascinating as well, that the women do so much better. And it's not easier for them at all. It's, we don't go light on you. I don't care who you are. So it's psychologically, it's interesting to be that close to this world and watch what these people go through and see how they are afterwards. And if you watch my movies, one thing that I always make sure I do is eventually I will do a follow-on interview to see how they're doing and I'll ask them all the questions like, were you forced to go here? Were you actually tortured? Could you really not leave if you wanted to? All the things that people think are about MCKAMEY Manor, I let them answer the questions in their own words. And I think if you watch the response, you'll see that it's a positive thing for them, and they're really glad they took the tour, and it wasn't anything negative like people try to make it out to be. And that's the magic of it. It's, again, smoke and mirrors.
Well, one of the things that makes MCKAMEY Manor unique is there is not a safe word. That is a true thing about your haunt, correct?
Maybe. I guess you'll have to come through to find out. Maybe. I can tell you this. Yeah, we're known for no quitting and no safe word. And so the way you get out, it's very simple. There's three ways to get out. I mean, I make it simple because I'm a simple guy, and I can't have too many rules, otherwise I'll get confused. So either you actually complete the tour, which is not going to happen, or you mentally or physically are at such a breaking point that it's now not safe for you to continue, and I need to take you out. Now, I must say, I'm giving a little secret away here, that on occasion, if I feel somebody initially before they even go in, after I have my interview process with them, and because we do this huge thing, I mean, it takes a lot of days to get in of work. You just don't walk in. So after I do all of my programming with them, something else we do that no one knows is that we actually hypnotize people. That people know, some people know that now, but if you look at the movies and you'll notice this glare, this blank look in their face, I want you to think about what it's like to be hypnotized, and then maybe some of this will make sense to you on how we do what we do. Does everybody get hypnotized? No, because not everybody can do it. But we have a trained stage hypnotist as part of our crew, and so for all these years, before they get to the haunt, we actually try to put them both under. Doesn't always work, but anyways, back to the question. I just threw that out there. So that's something that nobody knows. Now you know. That's an NPR exclusive right here.
Well, see, I don't even know if that's real or smoke and mirrors too.
I know, right? No, who knows? I guess the only way to find out is to come through the haunt. But from time to time, I will offer a safe phrase for those people that I think need it. Because I'm your buddy. Russ is your friend. I'm the only one that's looking out for you when you're there. I'm your pal. So your pal Russ here wants to make sure you have a lovely time. And if I feel that you need a safe phrase, I may give you one off camera just so you feel a little bit better and have some warm and fuzzies, and it might take your anxiety level down a little bit. I don't do it all the time. Don't come there expecting to get that. But if I think you need it, which is different than want it, then I may offer that.
I don't know. You really seem like a drill sergeant, like that guy who's just gonna treat you like the worst possible way to. And then you're part of the Marines afterwards.
Yeah, and then we give you cookies and ice cream afterwards, and we feed you and pizza time, and you hang out with the dogs, and then you're part of the family. So it's definitely a different scenario when you go through. Obviously, we're actors, we're performers, but don't get me wrong. Even though I'm the nicest guy in the world, you're going to hate me while you're in there because we will break you. I don't care who you are, how much you cry. We will break you down to your core, and you will find out what you're all about one way or another. You're either going to be a tough hombre, or you're going to be a pile of goo and a weakling. But you're going to find out some truths about you after you get done with the manor, either for better or for worse, and hopefully it's for better.
So what is it about the people who do come through? Why do you think after seeing all this stuff online, you yourself often say, don't come.
Yeah.
What is it about this group of people that come through that you think makes them want to do this?
They're a special breed. I mean, they're not like you or me. I don't want to do this haunt. And I know Beth doesn't want to do the real haunt. I mean, in my tagline, and I'm 1,000% real, is you really don't want to do this. And I'm dead serious. So I will tell each person 1,000,000 times, don't take the tour. You really don't understand what it's all about. So those ones that ignore my warnings, those guys and gals are just some really awesome adrenaline junkies. I mean, really unique people that can't get scared anyplace else. They're looking for a thrill. They're bungee jumpers and skydivers and scuba divers, all the things that, I mean, I like that stuff too, to a degree, but they're just a really interesting crowd. They're like MMA fighters, and they're big, tough bikers with, big tattoos and beards, and a lot of law enforcement come through, a lot of military. We got a lot of military, special forces guys. We get these kind of guys, and we get moms and dads, and like, for example, the woman who has the record inside the manor, and she's beat out military, law enforcement, special warfare. She's beat out everybody. She's I don't mean any offense here, but she's an overweight, middle-aged mom of 3, and she lasted longer than anybody. So it doesn't matter about your physical shape, really. It's all about mind. And she had the best mind control of anybody, and she lasted 6 hours. She's outshined the toughest, roughest guys. Her name is Sarah P. You can watch her movie. So how awesome is that this unassuming mom that you would think would never make it 5 minutes tore everybody up. So
raising teenagers is tough work, man.
Well, there you go. That's right. So I have mad respect for anybody who takes the tour, because these people, they know what they're getting into. You should just, if you read the waiver takes 3 hours to get through, the new one. I mean, literally, it's probably 20 pages, and you're going to go through it line by line, and you're going to read every single stunt that is available inside the manor. You're going to know exactly what you're getting into if you're selected, because Las Vegas screens this, and it's being controlled by what they want to do and see at certain times. We don't always work through Vegas, but sometimes we do. So they may want a certain stunt or a certain location, and we have to do that. And so we never know what's going to happen. It's very on the cuff. It's very improv, and that's what makes it fun as an actor. But yeah, these are some special individuals, and you got to give them a big round of applause.
All right, now, listing all the possible things that could happen to someone in your waiver, that seems like it could also be part of the haunt, in that you are laying the groundwork for all the things they can start worrying about before they even get in. You like that psychological angle.
That is true. That absolutely is true. So, heck, in fact, listen to Beth, and actually nothing actually happens inside. All we do is play cards. So it's very easy. Just come on in. We play cards and drink Kool-Aid and have pizza. So she's absolutely correct. It's all just part of the illusion. Nothing happens. So if you do come through, just blame Beth for not getting the proper information. But yeah, you never know what is real and what's not real. But I'm going to give you a lot of things to worry about beforehand. And you're going to meet some very interesting characters and some situations. I'm trying to get Beth to come back through. I really want this lovely reporter.
That's all right.
To go through the real tour, not the supervised one. I want her to go through the real tour.
I don't think I can meet requirements 2 and 3, the doctor's signature and the mental health check. I'm not sure.
You'd be fine. You'd be fine. But but you will know exactly what to expect. I mean, you're going to know that if you're selected to go to the barbershop, that you're going to come back with no hair and no eyebrows. You're going to be put inside of a watery plexiglass 8-foot container with live California moray eels, 4 of them. You're going to come into contact with those guys. You're going to be buried alive under 12 feet of ground, and you're going to dig yourself out of a coffin with a lot of weight on top of you, and you'll have to get through that ground to get to the top. You're going to experience these things, so you have to know that. And if you're okay with all that, then you're the kind of person we want to see here, because that's what's going to happen to you.
Okay, you seem to be caught between this position of don't come because it's so scary, but it's also smoke and mirrors. So you seem to, this seems to be a classic kind of showmanship kind of thing. Like you're enticing them and then kind of going like, eh.
Exactly. Well, I'm kind of the William Castle of 2016. And for those of you who don't know who William Castle is, look him up. He was this filmmaker back in the 50s and 60s, kind of a low-budget guy. He was kind of a Alfred Hitchcock wannabe, but really creative and clever. And he did some really interesting things with advertisement, and what he did inside of a theater with these crazy movies. He would have buzzers underneath the seats when a creature was out and running around. And the movie's called The Tingler. You should watch it. And there's a great documentary about him called, I think, The Spine Tingler, I believe. But look him up. And that's kind of what I'm all about. I'm all about the smoke and mirrors, about the crazy little things we do that you wouldn't really think that we would do at a haunt. But if you ever question if we're real or not, just watch the movies and watch how these people end up. You'll see individuals literally in shock. You'll see them mumbling to themselves, not knowing what date it is, not knowing who the president is. You're going to see all of this. So it's smoke and mirrors, correct, but at the same time, it's 1,000% real, and we can really deliver on all this junk I'm talking about right now. It sounds like, oh, this can't be real. I mean, he's just talking, nothing. But we really can deliver on what I'm saying. And that's the interesting part about it is it's entertainment. You're not going to get hurt, at least not on purpose. You're going to get cuts and bruises and sprains, maybe even a broken bone. It can happen. That's in the waiver, but it's never intentional. But it's physical. But we really can deliver on the product. And just watch any of my films and you'll see people just really shook up.
Now, I did watch one film where you had, I can't remember their real names, but they were like the Mario Brothers, and I actually got to meet them because they were actually helping you with your haunt afterwards.
Yeah. That's the fun part, is that people are so excited after they take the tour that they all want to be actors, because that's the kind of folks we got, and they get it. So these people that go here, they really understand what the magic is, and that's a requirement. You have to go through the tour to ever become an actor, because it's so complicated. There's so many levels to what we do that you have to experience to understand the flow and what we're trying to create, and that's a requirement. So yeah, those guys are now actors, and especially one of them, his name's Ryan Lawrence. He's my main actor, and these guys are great. And it's so funny to see them now being all tough and rough and breaking people, when in reality, when they went through, they were crying like babies after 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, they were done. And we were able to keep them going. And the one other individual, the other brother, Steve, he literally thought he died. So he felt that he saw his dead mother because he passed out several times. And because of the hypnosis that we do, that kind of, bled into that fact that he thought that he passed away. So there's a lot of mind games that we do to get what I need on film. It's all about the film. It's all about getting those magic Kodak moments. So it's interesting to see people who are now there, tough, but when they went through, and all of their videos are there, all the actors, they weren't so tough when they were initially at MCKAMEY Manor.
And I seem to remember that they were trying to outsmart you a little bit, and they had worn some the hypothermia suit or something, compression suit.
Yeah, that's really cute and clever. They always do. They wear the compression suits. They put on knee pads, and so we're smart now. So what we do now is at our initial pickup, because I learned, because they fooled me. I didn't know, right? So I'm like naive. Okay, great. So now at the initial pickup, we actually make them strip out of their onesie, because everybody has to wear a onesie, and you have to wear clothes under your onesie, so there's no nudity. You have to wear jeans, whatever, because I want you as protected physically as possible. So we make people get out of their onesie, and we check for things like compression suits and knee pads, and we will take those, and those will become our little souvenirs before you even start. So don't even try to outsmart us now. We're learning from folks like Ryan and Steve. But I love it. I love people trying to pull the wool over our eyes. That's all part of the game. It's all good.
Now, at one point, you thought you were going to have to close down MCKAMEY Manor, and you did start to explore some other things. So what are some of the other things you are doing outside of your kind of home base, home haunt?
Sure. Well, yeah, MCKAMEY Manor has a history of cities and towns not wanting us in their location. We were kicked out of Illinois. We were going to move out there. The city saw the movies after we were there, basically, and freaked out, and they just went crazy, praying in front of the building to keep us away, shooting out the windows, slashing tires. They really did not want us there. When, again, in reality, we're not what they think we are. And then New York, we had a contract to do a show in New York last year, and they The city commissioner saw that and said, "You're not coming here. That's not going to work." And then the last one was Arizona. We were all set to open up full time out there, and I had to run test shows for the city. I had to have the city officials and law enforcement do test shows. And after the test shows, guess what happened? They said, "No, you're not going to come here as well." So now we're back in San Diego with the chamber. We do have a show that starts this month in August called Snuff House, Alone in the Dark, and that opens in England. So if you're across the pond, that opens. It's already sold out though for the entire month of August. It's sold out. That's a 4-hour MCKAMEY Manor experience. I just finished doing all the script footage last night, and it's really interesting. That's gonna be the most extreme version of what we can do without being me. Because in reality, most places can't really do what we do because it is so technical and it is so extreme that you cannot do this stuff for the general public. You got to have this specialized, audience who really goes through all these, huge hoops to get here. So you're not going to find it anyplace else. But that's going to be the closest to what we really do. If you really want the real scenario, you got to come to the chamber, which is now located in 2 warehouses in San Diego. We're not doing the 5 locations any longer. I can tell you we're not going across the border anymore. Last year we used to take people across the border, so you'd be tied up in the back of a trunk. We'd pay the federales to do a mock capture of you in the trunk. We would take you and ourselves would go to an interrogation site, and we would be interrogated for 90 minutes. And then we would escape that room, and then we would go across to TJ into a warehouse that we had, and to continue the show. So these are the kind of things that we do. That's why we had to have a passport for folks to go through. So these are the kind of things we do that make it so realistic that people freak out. And I don't show this stuff in my movies because I'm not going to show all the goodies. I'm going to show the silly stuff that I don't care that people see. So if you really want to find out the magic behind the manor, you've got to actually come to it. And then you'll understand what the big, all the fuss is all about. It's really interesting.
And at one point there was talk of a TV show?
The TV show is still in the works. There's several different companies looking at me right now, one in particular. But I'm kind of fighting that because I'm not satisfied with the direction that they have to take it, which means they want to dumb it down. And I understand that. But I just don't want the mystery and the magic to go away. So they want to see more of the behind the scenes of what we do and have that incorporated in the show. And I'm not willing to do that. It's not worth it. I don't care if I got rich off of it or the publicity. To me, it's more important to keep the secrecy alive in the mystery. That's what has people freaked out. That's why they hate me or they love me, because they do not understand. They don't know what's really happening. They only know what I show them. So I totally am pulling all the strings with all these people who hate me and write all these crazy death threats and bomb threats, and we're gonna, I get some nutty thing on a daily basis. But it's really because of me. I'm the puppet master to what they think about the manor, because they only think and know what I've ever showed them and how I spin it. So I am in total control of all the haters as well. They don't know that, but yeah, I'm kind of pushing their buttons too. And I really don't want that secret out. So is it worth it to have a TV show and lose my secrets? No, not for me, not at all. So until we can do something to where that's not shown, I'm not really down for it.
So do you think P.T. Barnum is a good description of what you do?
I do. P.T. Barnum and William Castle, those 2 guys, I guess I'm the love child there. And absolutely, it's all entertainment. It really is. I mean, if you knew me in person, you'd think I was the nicest guy in the world, but that's not what you're going to see on the internet. And but again, that's all part of it. So it comes with the territory. I mean, they say some ugly things, and things that really do bother me that I don't like. One thing is, the thing that offends me most of all is that people confuse us with other extreme haunts, in the sense that most extreme haunts, Blackout and Freakling Brothers and other, there's a lot of them out there, they are hypersexual. That's what they're famous for. It's nothing but sex, simulating rape and really horrible things. And anyone that knows me knows I'm like a big time advocate for anything against that type of thing, as most people are. And I'm very protective to make sure that nothing like that that we're associated with in any way, shape, or form. We are totally non-sexual. There's no innuendos. Nobody's whispering crude things in your ears. There's no religion anywhere. There's no satanic stuff anywhere. I'm not here to offend anybody, and I'm surely not here to put somebody through a sexual simulation of a bad scenario when in real life, too many people, we all know people who have been hurt in that way, or ourselves have been hurt, or you know somebody, and we know that it destroys lives, it kills lives, it takes away innocence. So why would you ever want to simulate those types of situations for entertainment? And that's what those folks do. So I'm not a fan of that type of situation, and you'll never have that in the haunt. I always tell people that I can guarantee one thing and one thing only, that there's nothing sexual, nothing inappropriate. But when you go through the haunt, you're also signing up to say and know that everything else is on the table. Everything else. So everything your little mind can think of, as long as it's not sexual and nothing inappropriate, it's on the table. Again, we're not going to hurt you, but everything else is open. And that's what you're going to sign up for. And you're going to write that down on our lovely 30-page contract. So it's different.
And the other thing that helps keep this mystery going is that it's a very exclusive club in terms of how many people actually get to go through.
Absolutely. This is not something where you're going to have a conga line of folks. I do one show a week only, and it is open year-round, and there's a huge waiting list. But those folks, they get scared. Even the folks on the waiting list get scared. But, we're talking about opening a gigantic scenario, a huge haunt with lots of actors, lots of props, lots of everything you can imagine, things you've never seen before. That's a nice thing about MCKAMEY Manor. You're going to see exclusive, one-of-a-kind effects and stunts that are made up in my little mind that you won't see anyplace else. But only 2 people per week will experience that, and that's it. So there's not very many people that will actually get the tour. So if you're dead serious and you think you really want to attempt this, you need to contact me via my website, which is MCKAMEYManor.com. And there's a sub-page that says contact reviews. There's a form to fill out. Send that to me. And if you're truly serious, I only want the folks that really want to do this. Because again, so many people sign up for it and then they just get cold feet. And then it just messes up our whole day, because we spend a lot of preparation on putting a show like this together. So yeah, come and see us if you're serious.
So do you have a closing pitch you want to make for MCKAMEY Manor, or last words you want to give to people who are contemplating this?
The closing pitch is really try it if you think this is your cup of tea, and by soul searching if you can handle the kind of things that we're talking about. If you can be mentally strong and not break, or at least not break for a while, and if you've got the physical aptitudes, if you got good cardio, that's a hint. You need some serious cardio, folks, okay? You don't have to be buff and rough, but have some serious cardio, because we're going to exhaust you. We're going to wear you out to the T, that's for sure. But if you're that special person, then you will have the most fun ever. It'll be just a gold ticket in your life. I can promise you that. And you'll have a movie made of you, and for the whole world to see, and the grandkids and everybody else down there, they're all going to see what mom and dad did. And I love couples. If you're a married couple, they're the best, because I love, pitting those 2 people together and watching them throw each other under the bus, because trust me, they do. Nobody has a friend in there after a while. It's pretty amazing to see how people turn on each other. But if you're kind of iffy on it, then the saying sticks, and live it, breathe it, don't forget it. And that is, again, you really don't want to do this.
All right, well, thank you very much, Russ.
Absolutely. So it's been my pleasure. And again, open door policy for you anytime. And as a journalist, I think you really should. I think your fans would love to see you go through the full tour.
No, I don't think so. No. I think I know you a little too well to subject myself to that potential.
I love it. All right.
Thanks for listening to another edition of the KPBS Cinema Junkie podcast. If you're at all interested in MCKAMEY Manor, I suggest you check out my YouTube videos about my experiences inside the manor. Go to kpbs.org/junkiepodcast and look for Podcast 86. I'll have links there. Please subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, and I would love to have you leave a review or a rating. So till our next Film Fix, I'm Beth Accomando, your resident cinema junkie.